Hi everyone, I'm known by name as Irene Moss Gravenhorst, and I am a force of change to create abundance with truth for freedom on Earth. The purpose of this video is to respond to some comments on my film called Choosing Freedom, distributed on YouTube and Google. It is important for you to understand who I am, and those who discredit me, I place you on notice that as you judge me, you judge yourself, pursuant to the universal laws of reflection as researched by Greg Braden. Is the oldest trick to judge without knowing the history or doing some research. It is also how government hires agents to discredit the truth-sayers. I teach common law jurisdiction versus admiralty maritime jurisdiction to help you understand the importance of your name and to promote my workshops based on 19 years of legal research as a legal assistant, legal secretary, self-litigant, and educator. All this came about by changing my lifestyle and leaving a 17-year common law abusive alcoholic relationship. Everyone thought I was nuts to leave because he was very rich. I went from riches to rags on a mission to secure freedom for humanity and peace for Earth by testing the old system. As a teacher and student, I have no regrets because I did it my way. First, let me provide you with a short bio on how I understand this. In 1955, when I was born, there was a birth certificate issued to my capitalized name. The certificate was not signed by my parents, therefore it has no force or effect. This is important to know because my mom was a vessel and ship who birthed her child at the dock's hands. The dock capitalized on the family name without disclosure to my parents and produced me, the cargo, chatteled by registration of a birth certificate. In 1959, when I moved to Holland from Indonesia, my name appeared on my mother's Dutch passport. The pirates at sea, private bankers, lay claim to your name by capitalizing on it behind your back with the security of an insured number, the social insurance number. I call it the slave identification number. Ladies and gentlemen, it should come as no surprise to you that slavery exists in Canada. Established in 1867 by private bankers and a tax collector known by the title to her name as Her Majesty the Queen and Right of Canada, I teach you how to reclaim your name in any style of cause with matters of commerce pursuant to contract and equity law by estoppel. Understand the importance of jurisdiction and words. Watch The Occult World of Commerce by Jordan Maxwell and Jason Whitney. Do the research. My mission began in 1997 when I left my common law spouse and entered a 5-year legal battle. Disillusioned and disappointed by a court settlement, I knew that there was something wrong with the Just Us system and began my journey to freedom. Right after the settlement was filed in the year 2001, my accountant, who was a tax informant, reported my court settlement to CCRA, which is a corporate entity serving the Queen of England. But because she is head of Commonwealth, she is the Queen of Canada, and she confirmed this in a letter to me. The court order was entered in Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction, and CCRA quickly issued the motor vehicle tax assessments for the years 1996 and 1997. These issued fabricated numbers are produced out of thin air because there are no tax laws that capture natural free men and free women to bondage slavery in Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction, unless, of course, you consent to their tax contracts by voluntary compliance. Watch From Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo and understand the definition of these words. I appealed the assessment and appeared as a self-litigant before Judge R.W. Rowe. I entered 3 5-inch binders of evidence that took me 8 months to prepare in order to explain my truth. Judge Rowe ruled in my favor in 2002 because the tax contract was not signed by me, and he referred the assessment back to the Minister of National Revenue for reconsideration. Ignoring the judgment, CCRA garnished my HSBC bank account. When a bank employee handed over my deposit and said, "Irene, take the money and run," I knew that I was on a very important mission. I pursued a meeting with the vice president of HSBC and told him that I felt raped by this garnished bank account because CCR judge's decision. Drew Hawkins, an experienced banker from England, replied, "Irene, this happens all the time." In a telephone discussion with CCRA collection agent Lily Chung, she said, "We don't care what went on in court. We just want the money." I knew that there was something wrong with this tax system. Where do taxes go and who controls the money? So I put the bankers to a test and went to a mortgage broker to find the best interest rate and banking package. Drew Hawkins of HSBC was frustrated and called me in for a meeting, saying that perhaps he can help me with another type of bank account that would protect me. I turned down his offer because he could not guarantee the stop of another CCRA grab to my account. I also discovered that HSBC works with the IRS and mailed a letter to the president of HSBC for Canada and sent a copy of my claims to New York, questioning why the IRS has a right to obtain interest information on Canadian bank accounts. The mortgage broker was surprised when I told him that I would not provide the social insurance number. I explained that CCRA was a third party and had no business getting involved with this business transaction. He insisted that the SIN was required because he needed to do a credit check. I asked him to compromise and provided him with letters of references from bank managers and a copy of my stated title certificate. He accepted this and began to work on getting me a good mortgage. A few days later, he phoned to inform me that the North Shore Credit Union placed an offer to finance the mortgage of my home. When I met with the North Shore Credit Union mortgage representative, I was surprised to see the SIN number on all the bank documents. I informed her that I could not sign these documents as I never provided the SIN because CCRA is third party and I will not permit third party interference to a bilateral contract, as that would mean I've committed fraud and I will not commit fraud. She agreed and we crossed out all the references to third party referrals and taxes. I got copies of everything because she said that the originals had to go to head office for approval. This procedure is a trick because by signing these bank documents, you just became their named debtor instead of creditor, and I am informed by hearsay that the bankers will multiply the value of this contract up to 400% on the international money market. I stopped paying my municipal property taxes and began to research the laws of taxes and banking. I watched the Money Masters many times and decided to ask questions about the allodial. First, I asked the North Shore Credit Union. I received no response. So then I asked the municipality. Again, silence. Then I asked the Land Title Office. Again, failure to respond. I provided the bank, municipality, and Land Title Office with a notice of my known name as copyright trademark with all rights reserved protection. I abandoned my social insurance number card by registered notice to CCRA and copied the Queen on all my correspondence and user accounts for copyright trademark name infringements in the year of January 2005. The bankers decided to hire a local lawyer who was noticed by me about being third party as I gave him no permission to interfere in bilateral contracts for copyright trademark name infringements, and he backed off immediately. The bankers, North Shore Credit Union, went shopping for an aggressive foreclosure lawyer by the name of Andrew Burry of Gowlings and Hendersons in Vancouver, who proceeded immediately with a petition to foreclose. Tired of the courting games, a friend of mine, Dennis, encouraged me to pay for my mortgage by a CIC bond, which is called a Canadian Immigration Certificate Bond. This bond is issued by the Queen from Admiralty jurisdiction. Dennis was confident that I would succeed with this because he paid a CCRA tax for $250,000, which was based on Mary Elizabeth Croft's work. I mailed my CIC payments by registered notice. One, about 500,000 CIC mortgage payment, and my municipal property taxes, which I believe were about $15,000. A CCRA bill for approximately $58,000 and then a Citibank credit card. So all these bills were paid by a CIC bond.